Oh, everything is live, and I'm not even ready. It's all in good fun. All in good fun. Edits. Edits. Change the writing. Change the text. What's going on, everybody? It is Friday. It's blazing hot outside. Summer is finally here. Nobody's happier than me. Cheers to that. So, hope the week's been good, busy, productive. Remember, next week's going to be a short week because it's going to be a holiday. Most people will be off on Friday, except me, because, it's just not the way it works. And for those of you that don't know, my work involves Canada and the US. And Friday's not a holiday in the US. Love them hot summer nights, D. Love those. Those are the best ones. Driving around playing music with the windows down, just feeling that hot breeze. Oh, miss it. I so miss it. Midway point. Oh, hold on a second. Let me stop this thing from making noise. Okay. Save and show. There you go. I think we're in it. All right. We're finally ready to go. So, a little late because tomorrow is Lex's birthday, right? You know, it's Lex, so there's got to be all kinds of things going on. We were just fighting, and uh, well, you guys can't see, but you guys can see. She's now pooped. She's knocked out there. I gotta be careful when fighting with her. Last time I fought with her, she busted my lip two places. Oh, we get in. We go in there. But she turns 4 tomorrow. I got her some custom treats. I got her a custom cake. It's Lex. She gets it all, right? It's okay. But I will definitely share some views of what's going to go on and the things I'm going to do around here and things that she likes to do because, all in all, ride or die. We roll. We roll everywhere. But let's get on with it. We are, what are we at today? June 24th. We're in the summer, right? And we're at the midway point of the year. Blink twice. Do you remember? Remember? Blink twice, two more times. Remember when it was January 1? Remember that? Remember the things we were talking about? I know what we're talking about because they're all written on the board over there. It says January 1st. Talked about habits, developing habits. 21-day time frame to do that. We talked about motivating yourselves. We talked about your financial plan. Talked about setting targets, understanding what your current state is. We talked about food, exercise, increasing your activity in general, television, Netflix, traveling, the transformational parts that you were going to go through this year. Well, hey, we are halfway through. Go look in the mirror. You remember what you looked like January 1st? Is it the same person? When you're finished doing that, forget the mirror, close your eyes, have a conversation with that person to who you are now. Are the circumstances different? Is life easier? Are things, work starting to work in your favor or already in your favor? Have they stayed the same? Have things gotten worse? It's a milestone to track your own progress, right? To know what have you done? Have you been doing anything? And if the answer is no, then your next question you got to ask yourself is do you really want to change? Are you happy with what's going on? Is this let me move this out of the way. There you go. So, yeah. Are you happy with the way things are going? And start thinking of that in a broader range, like much wider. See, I started this, what, like, I've been doing this for 8 months? 8 months? Pretty consistently. I can see the difference. I know the difference in my ability just to talk. I'm a lot more confident to do it. Do I ramble? Of course I still ramble. I'm a normal person. I'm just like you. There's no difference. We're all people. Where do our differences lie? Our differences lie in our drives to get things done, right? In our ability to do the things that we can and learn to do the things that we cannot. You know, look at this for example. Remember at the beginning, all of the tech issues that I would always have is always going to be some kind of tech problem, some kind of tech issue. Something's not working, something right causing these delays. You're not hearing me. I'm not hearing you. I'm not seeing the comments. Oh, speaking of which, let me put the comments up on this one. There you go. There you go, Randy. Got you, bro. Um, all of those issues, and I had to learn about it. I had to learn more, and try things out to see what works and what doesn't work. That stopped me from buying more parts, mics, cameras, stands, mixers, sound consoles, lighting. Right? What's it all for? Simply that it interests me. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy getting it out of my head and somewhere. And by it going online, it can live there forever. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, I can look back on it and say, you know, this is what my life was like back then. These are the things I was thinking about back then. Let's say I'm not here. Let's say, the people around me that'll remember me at that time be like, hey, let's go back and look up this. Look at what an ass this guy was. I knew him. He was, he was it's a dog in the hall, typical Lex doing her thing. But it'll live there, and it's always something searchable. I keep all this stuff public. Psst, zip it. All right, fine. It's your birthday. She's not. The you can always go back and reference it. Everything is always public. It's all open, and I post it all over the place. You know what? What's the reason why? Like you're calling yourself names. You're probably right, but she's just relaxing in her spot. The keeping things available there. The whole premise behind it all is, what? I've been through my share of struggles, right? Lots throughout time. Because I ain't no spring chicken. We all know this, right? And I've been knocked down more times than I can count. Um, in most cases, I've found a way to get back up. But a lot of times, there's people around me that have helped me get back up. I don't forget that, and I understand that you can't do everything on your own all the time. It's impossible. You're not going to get anywhere, and I get it because I used to be like that too. You know what? We're taught this saying that you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. That is the stupidest thing I ever taught. That's the dumbest thing anyone ever taught you. If you believe in that too, because if you want it done right, and the person who's helping you can't do it, you don't need to take it away from them. You need to teach them how to do it the right way. That is the key. That's how you get help by sharing the knowledge. Right? You can't do everything on your own. So, I mean, with that concept in mind, there, Even me, how do you think I got here to doing this? My good friend Jen. I was talking to her all the time. She would lead a lot of the calls that I was on, and she was like, "Hey, why don't you go live and we can do it together and get started?" So if you look back into the stuff back from October, it was it was what did we call it then? It was called Real Talks with Des and Jen, and it was just more. When I look back at them, they crack me up because I hear me stuttering. I hear the and the and the trying to figure out what to say and where to look and what to do with my hands. And now I do anything I want with my hands. Though I'll try not to click pens. I don't keep any pens around to do the clicking. So some new people moved in down the hall. I think maybe that's what's getting her a little excited. There's some new scents around. She's a dog. She'll be all right. I'm pretty sure you can still hear me over that. I hope you guys heard that sound. But if not, it was a good one. But let's get back to it here. So yes, been knocked down many times. Many, many, many times. People help me get back up. I help myself. I help myself get back up. But at the end of the day, it's a choice you got to make to want to get back up. It's nothing wrong with wallowing in your failure. Shit happens. It's going to happen all the time. How long you want to sit down there is entirely up to you. It's your call, right? When it's time to get back up, you got to make that choice. I want to get up. Either I can get up on my own or I need help. And if I need help, now I need to look up because I'm the one that's knocked down. Be like, are there any hands out? Whose hands are they? Are they, right? Who should I reach for? Whose hands can I take, right? Like, how did I end up here? When you're done the wallowing and you've decided it's time for me to get up and, you know, get back get back on that horse, right? If you can't do it alone, seek help. Help is always there. A lot of the times you just don't want to see it, but it's always there. Yeah, I'm gonna take somebody's help. They're gonna hold it over me. I'm gonna hold them because they gave me something. It's not like that. If those are the kind of people that you have around you, then the problem is the people you have around you. There are people out there that are helping you just for the sake of helping you because they're in a position where they can do so. Then there's a lot of people that are going to help you that aren't in a position to do so, but they want to help. They want to contribute in whatever way they can, regardless of how it will impact them and their life. They're more concerned with helping other people around them. There are people like that, believe it or not. Everyone's not truly selfish, but you got to get back up and you got to get going. And if me sharing all of these little, tidbits here and there, these little concepts, little tricks, little stories about me and the things going on around me and somebody's in some kind of struggle of their own, right? They stumble across this, they see it, and it helps them out of the situation. That is a hand sticking out. It's a hand sticking out. It's not always going to physically be somebody taking your hand and pulling you out of where you are. Sometimes it's something you hear. Sometimes it's something you see. Something that changes the way you think about it. Like sometimes it can be as simple as taking a step over here and getting a different perspective of what you're looking at, right? But the key is to not quit. The time is going to come where you're going to be forced to quit. You're going to die. It's inevitable, right? Death is a guarantee. It's going to happen. You just don't know when. And not knowing when doesn't mean you should live entirely for the moment and have no regards for tomorrow. because tomorrow is still coming. It's still going to be here. It's still going to arrive. And let's say you didn't die and you are here. Are you prepared for today? Because yesterday it wasn't a thought, but now you're here today. What are things that need to be in place? Well, roof, phone, food, food for the dog, drink, you know, things have to be in place. Someone's got to take care of it. Most of you watching this are not children. There isn't somebody taking care of you, looking out for everything for you, making sure everything is here. Sometimes you have to adult a little bit. Don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean you don't have partners helping you, like doing your growth, whatever that relationship is, however that works and what y'all do for each other. But you have to be accountable to yourself for yourself, right? Choices you make, things you say, things you do. Tomorrow gets here. If things aren't in place for you, it's nobody's fault but your own. It's just like when I told you to remember back to January 1, right? Maybe you were listening to me talking then, you're like, hey, that's a good idea. Let me use that example and let me create a budget for myself. Let me start managing my money differently. Let me start looking at what my credit score is. Let me start looking at how much I'm spending and why I'm in the position that I'm in week after week, month after month. How can I change it? Because he's giving me like very basic concepts. And here you are, half the year is done. And if there's been no change, it's no one's fault but yours. Then that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Accept it. Be accountable for it. It's my fault. It was my choice not to do nothing. I can't complain about it forever. But the difference between now and say last year is now you knew what to do. Whereas last year you just had no idea and you're just kind of going, day by day, living the life. Does that make you feel worse now? Because it should. And that's the accountability part. You be be responsible for the choice you made to not do nothing. Like, oh, what shit. You know, at the beginning of the year, I said by the summer I'm going to have X, Y, Z in place. Summer is here, and when you look down, you're only at E, F, and G. It's a long way to go, but again, that's okay. Acknowledge where you are. Adjust the plan. We talk about that all the time. The plan's going to change. Reevaluate the plan. Adjust the plan. Now, start following the new plan. There's still a half a year to go. All right. Say that, and we're just talking financially right now, right? So let's say financially, Christmas for me this year is going to be A1. I'm going to have a tree. I'm going to have a proper tree. I'm going to have, uh, you know, gifts under my tree. I'm going to donate to a charity. I'm going to go and help out at a mission, at a kitchen, at a food bank. Do something. Not everything is going to cost you money, and not everything is going to, take away from you. Some things just take your time. We've talked about time and the value of time and how once it's gone, it's gone. It's a resource you cannot buy back once it's gone. But you can't buy time that's past, but you can buy time that's ahead of you if you manage things properly. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, let me know. And I will go over that entire conversation on another day. But We're at the midway point, and that was the whole topic here, right? What are we gonna do? Is it where it needs to be? I've been spitting concept week after week after week. Yeah, I missed a couple weeks. Things happen, right? But week after week after week, we've talked about so many different concepts, so many different ways to change things, change the things around you, change things around for the people around you, right? You bettering you betters the people that you're around. It's just by default. It's just the way it happens. At the same time, it filters out the people that you don't want to be around you. The moment you realize that somebody's really just pulling you down, right? They're pulling you down and you're trying to do better. Sooner or later, you're going to ask yourself, what am I really doing here? What am I doing in this situation? Where's the value in having these people around me? And these could be your lifelong friends, right? Friends that you've had since you were preschooler. Great, no problem. But that person has a life and you have a life. You guys aren't living together. They have their own lives to live. And you don't know the circumstances of theirs the same way they don't know the circumstances of yours. They have to look out for them and you have to look out for you. Again, you're adults. You got to do some adulting. You have to look out for you. You have to look out for your immediate family, the family that you chose to build by this point, right? And you need to look at, well, where do I want me and my family to be a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, right? 20 years from now. It comes down to what that family dynamic is, right? If you have babies, you got to have a 20-year plan. They got to get their way through some school and some education and some learning, and they have to start their life, right? As long as they're under 18, they're not an adult. Technically, you're responsible for them. I mean, society doesn't act like that, but technically you are. And if they fail at life, guess what? It was your fault. That's the truth of the matter. A lot of people won't tell you that, but I will, because it's the truth. You're a result of the examples you were given growing up. It's not rocket science. That's common sense. Say, hard conversations. We're done talking about the midway. I'm just going to talk about the hard conversations. Hard conversations are something you have to have. You have to have them with you. You have to have them with the people around you. I mean, in the case of children, you have to have them with children because children don't know what they want. They have an idea of what they want, and in most cases, it's because it's something somebody else has. I want it too. How many adults do you know are like that? Hey, they have that. I want that too. But then they're not able to ask, well, how do I get it? What do I need to do to make it happen? That is okay to come from a child. If you're an adult, you got to find a way to get things done because you want it. Is it important? Like me, I like stuff. What do I do? I acquire them. How? If I can't go and get it right now, I'm going to put a plan in place to get it. Like watches. Everybody knows I like watches. I like big watches. I have lots of watches. I like watches. It's my thing. Why don't I ever brandish the watches? Because there's no need for that. That doesn't mean anything. That's just my thing. That's what I like. Does it make me better than you that I have a watch? No, because your watch, my watch, they both do the same thing. They tell time. It's like cars. Your car, my car, his car, her car. They're all taking us from point A to point B. What's the difference? One may look nicer, one may ride nicer, one may sound better, but their purpose is to get you from point A to point B, and they're doing it. So, whatever the vehicle is irrelevant. And, you know, I was listening in on some conversations some other people were having. What is the term? Eavesdropping. And some people were just talking about themselves, not about themselves. They were talking about other people, and they were measuring them based on what they drove, as if that made a difference. What's the big difference? Cost of the car. One could afford it, one could not. One thing they didn't talk about was, well, time. That's right now. What makes you think the circumstances won't flip? It's more than possible. It can change. The snap of a finger. It can change. What is it that you actually value? I mean, I find those conversations funny. At this point, very few things will impress me. Very few. As you know, a lot of you know, I've been around for a bit of while, and what you would call seasoned, right? And I've seen a lot. I've heard a lot. People have come, people have gone, you know. And what's the one common factor? Still here. Still here doing what I got to do. Has there been struggles? Of course, there's been struggles. Struggles are part of life. It's the way it works. But still here, still going, still doing what I got to do, still taking my own advice. All the stuff I've been telling you guys all the time. That's my own advice. This is my own practices that I put in place. I'm putting them in place because I see how it's benefiting me, right? And just because it's benefiting me doesn't mean it's going to benefit somebody else. But maybe it will. Maybe a variation of it will. Maybe they just need an idea, a trigger point to help them start thinking about things differently, to change their circumstances. That's what I want. I want the people around me to be in good positions for themselves, right? And how do you get there? Simple changes. One of the big things um, that I see a lot of now, and I like it, is everybody starting some kind of small little business. Doesn't really matter what it is, something. Take today, for example. I told you guys tomorrow's Lex's birthday. I went on to Facebook Marketplace. I found some girl that makes dog cakes. I'll post some pictures of it later, but no problem. Bought it. She had some other gourmet. She had some other treats that she makes. So bought the cake, bought the treats. No problem. I went to pick it up today. I get there. It's a high school kid. I was blown away from the ad that she had, the way she was communicating with me, um, and then when I went to get the product, the presentation of it all, and she was a young girl, and I was like, oh, this is great. This is the kind of thing you want, right? For me, I spent the early parts of my life working for other people, you know, because of what I was taught. Right? We were taught that you get up, you go to work, you get a job, you go to school, you get a job, you value the job, you go to work, you work there to retire. And, that would have been the track that I would have been on for the longest time. However, it doesn't really work for me. It doesn't. It doesn't work for me at all. So I always had, although I started that way, that's not the way I am now. Yes, I do have a normal, you know, day to day job. But that job's purpose now is not just for me to live. It's for me to um live better, and it's to fund my future ventures. That's what it's for. It's not part of my life plan to get to a retirement point because the job will end. There's no doubt about that it'll end. Other things will take its place because it has to be done and I'm going to do it. I'm going to break cycles that have been going on because it needs to be broken. There are better ways to do things, and you can't close your mind to better ways. I mean, you have to decide if you want to do it. True. At the end of the day, you have to decide if you want to do it or not. But you should keep your mind open, keep your ears open, and look at things, analyze it, assess it. Is this something that could work for you? Maybe it can, maybe it can't. Should I start my own thing? If I do start my own thing, what's the worst thing that can happen? It fails? Does that mean I can't start something again after? How many people you know are divorced and they go get married again? How many people in relationships get broken up and go meet somebody else and start all over again? But you can't do that with a business? Think about it. That's the easiest way for me to put it down to you. The only thing that ever holds you back is you. It's never, ever anyone else. This fear of people are going to laugh at me, they're going to make fun of me. So what? Do you need those people around you? There's what? 8 billion people in the world? You think you control what everybody thinks? You can't. You got to focus on you. What somebody else thinks is secondary to what you think. Are you in control or are they in control? You got to pick. You got to make that choice because only one of you can be in control. One person's going to make the decisions. Decide who that's going to be. Yeah? Yeah? No? Yeah? No? Not sure? Maybe? Maybe not? How do you do it? How do you make that happen? Educate your mind. I can't tell you how much money I've spent on books, courses, um, what are those things called? Workshops. How much, forget money, time, how much time I've invested in learning things. And that's because the type of person that I am, I look at things very analytically. That's just my method. That's might not necessarily be your method. That's my method. So I need a lot of information before I make the move. I need the information to be able to make the plan. And because of that, you have to read a lot. My days of driving around and listening to music turned into me driving around and listening to audiobooks, right? Me sitting here and playing YouTube music and, having some drinks and you know, that turned into me listening to podcasts. Still having the drinks, but listening to podcasts, listening to what they're saying and constantly expanding my mind. It gives me a different perspective on a lot of things, and I enjoy it, right? And the other thing with driving around playing music, I told you already, the ride or die. She goes with me everywhere I go, and you can't really play loud music with the puppy in there. Her hearing is different, so it's fine. We can play the podcast, and I'll listen, and she'll listen, and she'll put her head out and bark at people. It's her thing. Um, but I found a way to make it all work for me. Don't get me wrong. Still like driving around playing loud music. I still like sitting here and listening to music, putting some YouTube on and listening to some music and doing whatever I got to do, clean up, cook, whatever the case is. And but at the same time, you got to spend some time focused on you and educating yourself. And the first thing you'll be like, well, what is it that I need to learn about? Or what do I want to learn about? Make a list. So that list becomes 20 different things. Great. Go learn about 20 of them. The internet is an unlimited resource of information. Yes, there's a lot of garbage on there. Absolutely. But you got to be able to filter out what you want, what you need versus what's irrelevant. But if you're not looking at any of that stuff, you're not looking at that avenue or treating it that way, you're just gonna do the same thing. You're gonna get up, you're gonna go to work, you're gonna come home, you're tired, you're gonna watch TV, you're gonna make dinner, you're gonna watch TV, fall asleep on the couch, get up, go to your bed, get up, and do the whole thing all over again. Great, no problem. How long do you really want to do that? Do you want to watch the people around you develop themselves and live lives, and then you're like, well, shit, I'm about to retire. Maybe now I'm going to go and travel. Okay, so now you don't have to work because you're retired, but now you want to go travel. Now, do you want to go travel with, well, I need to watch what I'm spending because only this much comes in for me to live off of? How am I living at this point? Time, 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 time. Time is always the thing. And if you're like me, right, now I'm operating on an accelerated time scale. Do you remember that? Do you remember that conversation? Do you remember us talking about that? About the day you're born, the day you die, and where you are moving across that. Now you can do things slower in the beginning as you're learning and developing yourself. As time goes by, this time will go by a lot faster. I'm in that accelerated point. Everything matters. Every move is important. I have to do what needs to be done for my own sanity. I know what it feels like to lose your mind and go absolutely insane. I know what it feels like. I know what the silence of the wall sounds like. I know what that feels like. Will I get into those positions again? I guarantee you not. That will not happen again. No. There's nothing and no one that can get me in those positions again. I've learned past it, educated myself. Start I'm able to see things very, very differently. And that would make me insightful. And because of that, I'm good with having hard conversations. I can have hard conversations with myself. I can have hard conversations with people around me. Easy. It's no brainer to me. And I don't take them personally. But people will start conversation with you. You get into that hard conversation. They get asked the hard questions, and then they get mad and they shut down. Shut down comes from anger, silence, uh, avoidance, disappearance. Like there's so many signs to it, and it's visible. It's visible. You can see it. You can see it as it's coming, and it's like, okay, well, all right, this is what's going to happen. And knowing what's going to happen, you already know how to deal with it. Now, I wasn't always like this, but I'm like that now. I love having hard conversations with people. It freaks them out. I like to see the look on their face with the they're appalled. Somebody's lighting fireworks. It's gonna freak Lex out. Let me see. Give me 1 second. Ah, she's sleeping. She's sleeping. Um, they get appalled. Appalled. Oh my god! How dare he ask me that? And then me laughing about it. It's like, oh, he's making fun of me. There's a high probability that I am. I'm making fun of you because you're getting mad about nothing. And I've said to you, uh, you always have control of the conversation. It's a thumb. Most conversations are on the phone, right? Especially with, well, I mean, now places things are opening up, and people are starting to get back around each other and whatnot. But for the past 2 years, it was all by phone. Somebody works you up, hit end. Go. I've told you guys that. I told you it was in your control. You just hit end. Call's over. Hit power. Turn off the phone. But have the conversations. Look for people to have the conversations with. No one's gonna have the conversation with you. Call me. Call me. We can have some really hard conversations. Just be prepared to answer. Because what's the point in having the conversation if you're not going to participate? It's just one sided. Now, can you get some value out of that? Of course you can. You're going to be like, with the, oh my God, I can't believe he asked me those things. But now you're thinking about it. You don't have to respond to me, but you're going to have to respond to you. You're going to have to think about, well, maybe I should look at this particular, whatever the subject was that we were talking about that made me ask you some of those questions. And ask yourself, am I doing the right thing for me? Because it's not about anybody else. I know you can call me right now, but there's no need to call me right now because then you'll cut this off. But hardened conversations are important. They are an important thing to have. It is part of being an adult. Sooner or later, y'all have to grow up. You have to do it. You can coast away the life you're living for only so long, right? Yeah, you can do it all the way to the end. Yeah, absolutely. But at the end of it all, when you reach the end, at that very last breath you're going to take, at that point, you're going to ask yourself the hardest question. What did my life look like? Are you going to be happy with it? Because that life is entirely within your control. Nobody else within your control. Anything that you possibly want, you can acquire. The question is, are you willing to do what it takes to get it? You want to give yourself some crazy, unrealistic timeline? Okay. Can it be accomplished? Of course it can. At what cost? And those are my favorite conversations to have with people. Those are my favorite ones. What they have these unrealistic timelines and these unrealistic goals, and they're expecting it all to work out and be simple. It can work out, but once you start adding in the unrealistic points, that's where things become a little bit more complicated. And if you're not able to look at the plan and create the plan properly, how can you achieve it? Right? You've given yourself the two most important things: the target, what it is, and the timeline, how long I need to get it done. Everything in between that is all just steps. Are you taking the right steps? Did you map it out properly? Did you did you have somebody look at it with you to make sure there aren't gaps in the plan, especially if it's this crazy aggressive timeline? Now, this I understand all too well because this goes on day after day at work for me. Everything is about timelines. Time, time, time. Everything is with time, 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 time. We have to get it done. We need to get it done by then. We need this done by then. It's just like, okay, well, what needs to be done to make it happen? And are you willing to do X, Y, Z? And if the answer is no or I don't know, guess what? You're not going to meet one of those things, the target or the timeline. And the target, which, we talked about a long time ago, is the goals are. And I've told you guys, never lose sight of the goal. Things are always going to happen. Life's always going to happen. The plan is going to have to be adjusted. It's going to have to be changed. They're going to have to create a new plan. But never lose sight of the goal. You need to stop, take a moment, reassess everything, analyze it all, and drop a completely new plan. Do it. But if you drew the plan yourself and you got to a point where it's failing or it's not working, have a conversation with somebody to understand why, so you're not going to make the same kind of plan. Or have a conversation with somebody to help you create the new plan, right? There's always people out there to talk to. Constantly tell you that. So, with that, I think that's a lot to digest for today. But as I said, it's the midpoint. You're at the midpoint. You're 6 months in. Do you know how many things could happen in 1 year? You're halfway through that 1 year that we started this together. And if there's zero progress, it's your fault. Accept it. It's your fault. And sit back, take a moment, take a day, look at everything, understand where you went wrong, create a new plan for the second half. Because you know now that halfway halfway through the year, we're having this accountability call. And I'm not holding you accountable. You're holding you accountable. If you're thinking about it now, that means you're holding yourself accountable. And that's the idea. That's what we want. But we're going to have this again at the end of the year, right? New Year's Eve isn't just a party. New Year's Eve is a moment to look back on the year. Did we accomplish what we set out to do? And also, what are the targets for the upcoming year? I told you, decisions that you make now, you won't necessarily see the result till 5 years from now. Making good choices now will have a very big impact on your life 5 years from now. But those are choices you have to make. Not me. Not me at all. I mean, I'll still be kicking around. I'll still be doing this. It's definitely not going to be in this environment 5 years from now. I'm definitely going to have more tech because I like it. Definitely going to have some more watches because I like them. It's my thing. So I start showing watches? No. But run with that. Have the hard conversation. And like I said, if you don't have anyone to have a hard conversation with, call me. We'll have that hard conversation. We can have it. I will ask you the questions. You'll cry and you'll fight and you'll swear, and I'll be like, all right, cool. Want a drink? Want to eat something? but it's not too late. Still have half the year. Get it done. Get there. Make this Christmas better than last Christmas. Better. Make sure it's better than the Christmas before that, and even better than the one before that. Simplistic things. More fireworks going on. Simplistic things can have really, really big impacts. Just apply the changes. It's not that hard. So, as I'm wrapping this up now, and there aren't really much more concepts for me to go over. I mean, we've pretty much mapped out the entire framework to change every piece of your life. From, health wise, we spoke about that. Money wise, we spoke about that. We talked about, a lot of setting your own, settling your own mind, being at your own peace. There's a lot of, I was looking at it yesterday, the day before, looking back at all of the videos, and we've touched on a lot of important topics. A lot, not just some, a lot. And I'll continue to throw things out, but I think we're going to stop with the concept unless it's going to be something very specific that somebody's, looking for an answer for, and we can drill into it that way. But I think it's time to start moving into a little bit more of your personal problems and things that are going on out there in society. It's great. It's great. I definitely get entertained listening to some of the podcasts and stuff that I listen to. Uh, I like putting them on while I'm working, right? Because it's just something going on in the background. It would normally be the news is on all day long going, but now I've started, alternating and sticking in some podcasts on there, and it's just going on in the background. But you'll hear a tidbit, and you're like, "Well, wait a second, let me kind of look over and see what's going on here. Maybe rewind it a bit and drill in." But I think going to start getting into a little bit more conversations about life stuff, not necessarily the finance stuff and the building yourself up. And let's start talking a little bit more about life, how you can better your life personally, as an individual, as a human being. Work on your confidence. Get a little bit more. Hey, Delilah. Get a little bit more focused on those parts of you that are lacking. Um, I think I told you guys before that I'm constantly deleting people from my social medias because I'm clearing up space for the people that I'm constantly adding. I do them both just to kind of see what's out there in the world, and it kind of helps me. To me, right? It gives me different viewpoints. People, what people post, when they post it, what they're posting about, who's constantly complaining, who's constantly celebrating, what are you celebrating, and age. Age plays a big role in that, and I don't really limit the age factors that I'm friends with that send me requests that also request. It's no big deal because you'll be here today and delete it tomorrow. It's not really anything. I don't really take anything out of it other than that. Um, but when profiles are dead or inactive or there's not really much content coming out of it, oh, believe me, you'll get deleted. Absolutely, you'll get deleted because you're just kind of taking up space for nothing. Um, I like I like viewing the things that are going on out there. There's a lot of things going on out there in the world. We can talk about a lot of those things, but I wouldn't really get too policy driven. I mean, if somebody wants to have an argument like that, um, I would invite them to come over. We can sit down and we can argue on something. No problem. We will set up multiple cameras and the controls and multiple mics, and it'll be a good old time. But yeah, so look for some changes up and coming. Don't get me wrong. I'll still throw out concepts, little things and stuff like that, because I'm always into something, right? Always learning about something, and I'll constantly be sharing that sort of stuff. Proof is in the pudding. I do know. I do pay attention to you. Pay attention to all the things you post all the time. Sometimes entertaining, sometimes what are you doing? But I do pay attention because that old saying: just because I don't say doesn't mean that I don't know, right? So with that, we are rolling up to an hour. It happens. You know what? Some of these podcasts are looking are like 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. Because once the conversation gets rolling, it just keeps going. It's really easy, and I think that's the kind of the route that I want to take and have it more interactive, which I've mentioned before. But it's just that the people who want to get involved have this fear of judgment for them expressing their opinion. It's all right. People are going to judge you anyway. But I'll get there. I'll get there. Don't worry. It will happen. There will be a panel, whether we're all in the same location or it's virtual because of this tool that I have. That I told you. So here, right? That's Instagram, but here, that's YouTube and Facebook, and that I'm using StreamYard to broadcast on. So I can bring people on, and we can share screens. We can do all kinds of cool stuff with the tool. It's a tool. I bought the tool to use the tool. I'm going to use the tool more and more. It just takes a little time. I think last week I said I was going to show you the new mobile studio, but I wasn't able to get the new PC for it. So I'll be picking that up this week, and then I'll show it to you. I'm not going to show you it incomplete, um, and you'll know because the background will start changing because I can just roll that one wherever I want to go. I can roll it into the bathroom, sit in the bathroom, and do this whole thing from the bathroom. Why? Why not? It's no difference. But with that, I will let y'all go. Tomorrow's Saturday. Weather's going to be good. If you're in Toronto, the weather's going to be good. Do something productive with it. Get out there, enjoy the weather. Um, I'll be working. Let's not. I'm not going to do it from the bathroom. It's just an example. But now maybe I will, and I'll invite you to join, so you can come on live and be as one of the people in the panel. Um, but yeah, the weather's going to be good. Get out there, enjoy it. Do something productive. I mean, if patio's your thing, hey, get out, hit up a patio. I know they've been pretty packed, but try to get in, get some breeze, have a refreshing drink, grab some nice appetizers, live life. Right? You only got one. You got to live it. Nobody can live it for you. And as much as you think you can live through somebody else, you can't. You gotta. Thanks, Delilah. I appreciate that. You gotta do what's best for you. Told you that before, and I don't mean that in a selfish manner because I don't even go on those things anymore. I don't do that anymore at all. Maybe I should. Maybe we should all go on one. But do what's best for you. You know. So I'm gonna let you go. Go pour yourself a drink, sit back, relax, think about what we talked about. Say that, oh my God, I really can't stand what he's saying. Or you know what? Maybe he's making a little bit of sense. Maybe I might wanna, look up some of these things and maybe I want to change some the way I do some things and it'll be better for me. It'll be better for the people around me. Simple concepts. Listen, if nobody else is cheering for you and that's what you need, let me know. I'll cheer for you. I'll shout you out all the time. I'll track your progress with you and I'll tell you when you're falling off and help pull you back on track. And then we'll celebrate when you get to those milestones. We'll go eat. We'll go drink. We'll do those things. You know, we have one life to live and we got to live it. So let's live it to the best we can. You were not put here to struggle over anything. Nothing. Not a thing. Not a single thing. You were here to have an experience. And the best part of that is that you control it. So make it the best experience possible. And when you get to that last breath and you have to ask yourself, well, what was my life like? You're like, shit. My life was a life that everybody else wanted. That's where you want to get to. Cheers, guys. I'll see you in a couple days. I don't think we're gonna wait a whole week. I'll see you in a couple days. The other one's not ended. There you go.